we have now learned the factual premise that the Lakers can win without LeBron James. So if you're the guy that was staging your own personal holdout, which I believe he was, and it backfires because the Lakers are 7-2, now you've got no choice but to really double down on the sciatica.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
If Jacoby Brissett was playing bad football for the past 3 weeks, Kyler Murray will be fully healthy, ready to go. Can't wait to get him on the field at Seattle and try to resurrect our season. Now you have Jacoby Brissett playing really good football. Putting Kyler Murray back in right now because he wasn't playing good football doesn't make any sense. The perfect storm here for Arizona. Hey, Kyler, going on IR takes the pressure off you. And Jacoby, you deserve the start. Go ahead and start, kid.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome to another edition of the Craig Carton Show. Great to have you here. And, of course, Tyrone A. Johnson sitting right over there, as he does every single day. Lots to get to, but I'm going to let you play a little game here, Tyrone. Do you want to go door number A, which is a very positive, uplifting door, or door number B, which might be a little angry, a little accusatory, and content of that ilk. But you get to decide how we start the show today.
All right.
Are we going lovey-dovey A, or are we going B?
We're going to go with hateful B.
We're going hateful Craig. All right.
Yes, all right.
Great choice. I would have picked the same exact one. I am beside myself today with anger.
Okay.
And I don't typically allow my personal feelings on a topic invade my objective take on a topic, especially when we're talking about sports, man, right? It ain't life or death, although we take it very seriously. But something happened yesterday that has me at odds with myself.
Okay.
And I want to hurt people. It's not in my nature to do that, as you know. I'm a lover, not a fighter, Paul. That being said, something happened yesterday that is offensive to all 9 of my senses. That if you are a hardworking, blue-collar American, should be offensive to your senses as well. Yesterday was Veterans Day. Yep. It is a day that we are supposed to take a moment out of our days, at our convenience, of course, and just spend a single moment honoring and remembering the great sacrifices that all the men and women who have represented our country abroad at war and domestically at war or not war, who have sacrificed their lives many times for our way of life. And I take that day very seriously, okay? Because we should always remember the veterans that have protected our country. Yesterday, the Duke Blue Devils played a basketball game on Veterans Day on the campus of Army. West Point, Orange County, New York. If you've never been there, make it a bucket list event because it's as beautiful as you want it to be. And the Duke Blue Devils, obviously one of the best college basketball teams in the land. Mm-hmm. John Shire, their coach, took over for Krzyzewski. He's done a very good job there. And they are clearly head and shoulders better from a talent perspective than Army could ever be in basketball, okay?
Absolutely true.
And they embarrassed Army. And they rubbed Army's noses in the fact that they're a better basketball team than they are. And they ran the score up against the cadets at Army. Now, I want to be clear. Army would have it no other way. Army wouldn't want you to take it easy on them. That would be offensive to their core because if they're going to lose on merit.
Absolutely.
And if they get blown out, That's the Army way. We keep our heads held high because we fought our best, right?
Yep.
But Duke's got to know better. You are playing that game in front of 5,000 people on the Army campus in Orange County, New York. And you have a responsibility, in my opinion, yes, to win the game. The game counts in the standings. You're ranked, they're not. So, yes, you have a responsibility to win. Well, the halftime score, the game was already out of reach. Okay, because at halftime, the Duke Blue Devils were up by 19 points. 49-30. And what did Duke do in the second half? They ran it up. They scored 65 points in the second half of this game. They did go to their bench later on, and about 10 guys got in, but they basically used their basic rotation of 7 or 8 guys getting all the minutes. And then the bench guys got in very late in the game.
Yep.
And I'm watching it say to myself, how disrespectful could John Shire and the Duke Blue Devils possibly be that on Veterans Day, you got some kind of joy out of going to West Point and embarrassing the West Point Cadets by nearly 60 points. You couldn't call off the dogs. You couldn't go to a little, keep the ball away from the defense, shoot only at the very end of the shot clock. A little 4-corner basketball, as we used to call it way back in the day. Mm-hmm. And I know we don't talk a lot about college basketball until we get closer to March, and obviously the postseason tournaments. And I know we got a lot of football to get to today. But gosh darn it, America, as a guy that rises and falls under the protection of the United States Army all across the globe, they deserved better. And we deserved better. And look, I don't like Duke to begin with. I never have, because screw them and all their success over the years and all their haughty, tawdy, annoying players that they've had come through that system. But to go to West Point on Veterans Day and beat West Point, Army, the Black Knights by 60 points essentially just left me feeling some kind of way, and I didn't sleep at all last night.
You know, you're a real patriot.
Bothers me to my core.
That's patriotic.
Like, you couldn't score 40 points in the second half?
That would have been fine.
You had to run it up? You had to add insult to injury and drop a 65 burger on them in the second half? The same men that are going to protect us when war breaks out? You got some type of joy out of embarrassing Army on Veterans Day? John Shire should be fined for such a thing. John Shire, I'm even considering deporting him. Get ICE on the case right now.
Court-martial?
Court-martial as well.
Yeah, court-martial.
This is ridiculous. You can't go to Army on Veterans Day and run up the score against a team that cannot compete with you on a basketball court. Yeah. You no good sallywags losers. I hope Duke gets embarrassed just like they did in the Final Four when when the second coming of Danny Ferry, of Christian Laettner, short arm, a little 10-foot buddy in the lane, and you got eliminated in one of the great choke jobs in tournament history. Gosh, I hope that happens again. But man,
it's messed up. And then they had a bunch of fast break points. That's another way where if you're up a lot,
steals and break, right?
You don't break out. You run your offense. That's what you do. It's little subtle things you do to not run the score up. And I think this even applies in Little League at certain times when one team has a bunch of players that have a real future and you're going against some local team. You don't let them win. You always still win.
And by the way, you get nothing out of it. Like Duke didn't get anything out of a 60-point win.
You don't learn.
The Cadets didn't get anything out of a 60-point loss. And I'm watching the game because I'm a patriot. I'm an American. And I hate Duke. And now I hate Duke even more. You have some balls, John Shire, running up the score on purpose. You could have called the dogs off. You could have put those bench warmers that never get into the game and told them, slow it down.
Yeah.
Let's not embarrass Army without, making them feel like, come on, guys.
Right.
Like, we're not children here, right? Like, you don't want to also insult them.
Right.
But at the end of the day, man, it's Veterans Day, right? You're undefeated. You're 4th in the country. You're going there to highlight the armed services, right? And the dedication that these young men are going to make once they graduate from Army, and their commitment to our way of life and our freedom. And they're going to strap on guns and take explosives, and they're going to protect us against the enemy. And you got joy out of rubbing their noses in the fact that you're better at basketball than they are? Well, you're not better at men. You're not better at being American. You're not better at doing what's right over what's easy, because that's all the Duke Blue Devils did. And shame on them. And if I ran the ACC, I would take 3 scholarships away from them, and I would punish John Shire.
That's right.
You don't treat the Army like that on a basketball court and then ask them to protect you if we're ever at war again. I was disgusted by what took place yesterday at West Point.
Yeah, Shire says he's going to head out the Air Force next, then go to Navy. He wants to beat them all by 60.
He wants to beat them all.
Yeah, because, apparently he tried to get into the academy at West Point, and they told him no.
Oh, so maybe it was personal.
Personal for
John
him.
Shire couldn't make it into the academy. So what did he do? He beat them at basketball. Well, I hope you feel good about yourself when you fly that charter jet back down to North Carolina. I hope you felt good about yourself. Embarrassing one of the armed services on Veterans Day. You should be ashamed of yourselves, Duke. You should be ashamed of yourself, John Shire. The entire program should lose all federal funding for what they did yesterday.
I agree with that.
You chose it. You chose B. I could have gone A.
No, you went the right place. You went to the right place.
I'm
USA.
disgusted by it.
USA.
Yeah.
USA.
Matter of fact, if the Russians want to attack Duke, I'm going to let them.
At this point.
Go right ahead.
We now have to figure out if they will be in the playoffs. They're the Super Bowl favorite and have shorter odds to miss the postseason as you and I sit here right now.
Right, but let me ask you this. Do you feel after this 5-4 record, 9 weeks, 10 weeks of the regular season, that their defense is as dominant as it was last year?
But the offense is better.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Fly Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You want to throw $12, $13 million at Kiffin? That's always a possibility. Summerall, they lost the other night to, in that matchup to UTSA. Or do you go back to potentially the mad scientist and Nick Saban, give him, complete control of the athletic department and see if he can turn it around? We'll see. But whatever they go, they're going to need a coach to hit the ground running.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
His daughter, she's on the OF.
Okay.
She's on the OF now.
Is that right?
Yeah, she's on the OF now.
So he's got an OnlyFans daughter and a little son
who says he can beat Curry and LeBron.
And he's coaching a team that was down 72 to nothing.
Keep that dude away from polite society.
Okay, by the way, I'm with you. I didn't know any of that is.
Numerous pops gotta go.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Some football news, everybody. Things are not all that hunky-dory in Philadelphia. And who do you think that means we're talking about? That's right. A.J. Brown went on, I guess, a buddy's podcast yesterday or last night.
He's playing video games.
Okay, so
He's
yeah, a
doing
lot of the kids play.
yeah.
Right. It's like, hey, I'm going to play Madden and watch me play Madden, which never made sense to me.
Yeah, it keeps the players in the house. That's why they jump on those streets.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in the house.
A.J. Brown said, I'm quoting now, if you got me on fantasy, get rid of me. He is not happy. And I got to be honest, I'm with A.J. Brown on this one. The Eagles' offense is broken. It's right. It's sitting right there. The embers are still there. Like, if you blew on it a little bit, you'd have a roaring fire. I still think they're good enough to score 30 points a game. But A.J. Brown's not wrong. I know everyone characterizes A.J. Brown as this me-first type of dude, diva wide receiver, like a lot of wide receivers are, not just A.J. Brown. But he's not wrong, and he's not lying either. If you're A.J. Brown, and I want to flip the script on this because I think there are times when he does deserve criticism, when maybe he's not a good teammate, and then I think there's times where the criticism is not warranted, and you need to listen to what A.J.'s saying, and in this case, I happen to agree with him. No one's going to dispute the fact, I don't think, that the combination of A.J. Brown on one side and Devontae Smith on the other is a top 5 wide receiver duo.
Factually.
Right?
That's a fact.
I don't think they're number 1. But I think you go to Cincinnati, probably T. Higgins,
even though they don't win.
Chase.
Yeah,
you could probably look at Minnesota as well, right, with Addison.
The other team that doesn't win, but yeah.
Right? And Jefferson, of course. Yeah. But they're there. They're in the conversation. Wherever you want to rank them, you rank them wherever you want to rank them. Get your own show and do it and stop yelling at me for rankings, all right? But in this case, I think A.J. Brown is right. Because when the Eagle offense over the last 2 years, and even including some of the games this year, has been at its best, it's when A.J. Brown is a big part of the offense, meaning, let's say 9 or 10 targets, 5 to 7 catches, couple scores, big third down type of deal, right? And the fact that the Eagles in the game against Green Bay, that they were very fortunate to win on the missed 64-yard field goal, which would have forced overtime against the hapless Green Bay Packers offense, he had 2 targets. 1-2. And both of those targets came in the first half.
He had 3. The play that they should not have ran, that was the last target. He had 3 total.
So 3 total targets, 2 in the first half.
Yeah, and then 1 at the very end.
And then 1 at the end.
On that 4th down.
And I noticed something in the game. On the key drive of the game for the Eagles, the biggest play prior to the touchdown was the little dump-off pass to Saquon Barkley. And Saquon makes a great spin move, makes the guy miss right near the sideline. And then there's 2 defensive backs converging on him. And there's an Eagles wide receiver ahead of Saquon Barkley doing his damnedest to block.
All the way
Couldn't block
downfield.
both guys, but he absolutely blocked one of the guys and gave Saquon a chance to get more yards. That's what coaches look for whether or not a wide receiver is all in, or if a wide receiver is mailing it in because he's upset that he's not getting the rock. Well, that wide receiver was A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is too good a wide receiver to only throw him the ball 2.5, 3 times for the entire game. Like, what are we doing? We know you've got a quarterback capable of getting him the ball. You know you've got a great wide receiver on the other side of the field. So A.J.'s not only seeing double teams. There are plays when he's going man-to-man against a cornerback, and there's not a cornerback in football, including Patrick Surtain, that I wouldn't take A.J. Brown in one-on-one. I wouldn't. A.J. Brown's going to beat every cornerback in football when it's man-to-man, right? So I know Eagle fans are tired of hearing about it, and I know people from outside of Philly that are looking for reasons to poke holes in the Eagles' defense of a Super Bowl, and the first hole we always poke is A.J. Brown's a problem. That locker room's a problem. They're not all on the same team, that kind of nonsense, right? But in this one, I got to be honest, I think A.J. Brown's right. Like, I can't envision having a star talent like that and being in a situation where my offense is struggling. And let's be fair, the Eagle offense is struggling, which is why yesterday, and this went crazy viral, I suggested you demote Kevin Patullo and replace him with Brian Dable, who's obviously thought of as a quarterback whisperer and an offensive-minded head coach, right? And I know that's not going to happen, but I think the Eagles have a problem right now with their offensive coordinator. And my proof of that is you're not giving the ball to a guy that is one of, if not, your best offensive player.
Yeah.
You're a Philly guy.
Yeah,
and I'm not. And for me to say it, like, I have to assume, well, I shouldn't assume because I know Philly is broken along certain lines, some of them race lines. But if you're a diehard Eagles fan, are you pro A.J. Brown or are Eagle fans tired of A.J. Brown?
No, they're pro A.J. Brown. And the other thing is, like, he's so good. I don't think people understand. There's only been 2 receivers in the history of the league that had 5 straight games of 125 games or more. You know one of them is? A.J. Brown.
I believe it.
He's that good.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're not giving him the ball, it's at the point now where he has to act this way because being a good soldier has not gotten him the ball, and that hurts the team.
Now, there's a trade-off to that, and I'll be fair about this because while I'm pro A.J. Brown in this regard, and I'm saying that because it's not like, if the Eagles are scoring 30 points a game.
Doesn't matter how you do it.
And you're angry, that's shame on you.
Right.
Right? The Eagles are winning. And winning has to be paramount. So nobody wants to hear a single player on a team that is winning and has a 3 or 4 game lead already in their own division and is a lock for at least one home playoff game and maybe home field advantage when it's all said and done. The usual narrative is keep your lip tight because don't be the squeaky wheel. We're winning football games. But if you watch Eagle games, and I'm forced to watch every snap because my beautiful wife's a diehard Eagle fan, and my beautiful daughter's a diehard Eagle fan.
They're both great.
So there's a TV dedicated to Eagle football, whether I want it or not. So I've watched every Eagle snap this year. The Eagles' offense is a problem. The Eagles' offense needs to be fixed if they're going to win a second consecutive Super Bowl. And what's the number one thing that's broken about it? You're not getting the football to your best wide receiver. Now, there's other things broken with it, too. They can't run the ball for shit. Sorry. They can't. Sorry,
at all.
Cable, we're fine.
Yeah, at all.
They can't run the ball at all this year. Like Saquon Barkley's got 100-yard running game all year right now. So he's not near the 2,000-yard season. But you are winning, and yet I still support and back A.J. Brown. Yeah. I think A.J. Brown is trying his hardest not to be a distraction. I think A.J. Brown is trying his hardest not to be that guy. And you certainly don't want to get traded. I know the trade deadline's over, but then it would have been foolish to trade him. No. He's too good. So keep an eye on Philly, because when you go on other people's streams and podcasts and whatnot, and you are the squeaky wheel, you don't always get the attention you want. Sometimes the quarterback goes, enough. I'm only looking to Devontae. Be interesting if that happens in Philadelphia. More football next.
The rest of the wide receiver group is underwhelming. Kincaid's had some moments. They need a playmaker in the worst way this offseason. I know they keep trying to get it done or pick these guys off. Maybe Keon Coleman will be that guy. Maybe Josh Palmer will be that guy. It's not working. They haven't replaced Stephon Diggs, and it shows. And I think Josh Allen could use some help. So Buffalo Bills in the offseason, free agency, NFL draft, get yourself a big playmaker.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Notre Dame playing very well, in a position to crack the top 12. Now they have to take care of business.
Here's what I want from and again, we're going to go over who we think is actually going to make the playoffs here a little bit later in the show. But understand this, Joe. I don't want any ACC in there. I don't want any Big 12 in there. Just give me the Big 10 and the SEC. And Mike, quite frankly, if you just gave me Ohio State, Indiana, and the rest of the SEC, boom, boom.
Nah.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Let me ask you this. If they brought in Belichick, you don't think that... Yeah.
Oh, of North Carolina?
Yeah, they're playing much better now.
I wouldn't let him coach my kids. I don't even have it.
I tell you what, they would be more disciplined than what they are now.
No, they wouldn't. They'd be lifeless.
Yes, they would.
They'd be lifeless.
Yes, Brian Dable is a gutless head coach.
Bill Belichick came off a bye against
gutless
Clemson.
head coach.
When he placed in, they gave him 150 yards.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
But here we go. This is like, Pet Cemetery. You guys don't remember this movie from the 1980s. But look, goodbye Tom Brady, I guess, wants to keep the generation alive. Couldn't he just have had this dog breed and just take the puppy of some kind? I don't know. But hey, Tom Brady does different things. Maybe this is just a signal for cloning in the future for humans. I'm not really sure here.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. We started off with a little angst because Tyrone picked the wrong door. I'm just saying that regarding Duke blowing out Army on Veterans Day. A little more basketball. It's a quick segment. Only got a couple minutes for it. It was announced. I've been at the front end of this. You could ask Adam Silver, my dear friend, the commissioner of the NBA. And every time I see him and speak to him, I keep putting it in his ear. We got to fix All-Star Weekend, and the easiest fix to it is not just getting the biggest names players to participate in the dunk contest, but for the game itself, which has become absolutely unwatchable. USA versus the world. It's a no-brainer. Well, the NBA finally came around and listened to me, but they added their own little caveat to it, which I don't like, so I'm just walking through it real quick. It's USA versus the world. You can see there on the screen, 2 USA teams, 1 world team.
Yeah.
So it's a 3-team round robin, and then the top 2 teams, based on the round robin, then play against each other for the title. So by default, it's going to be the championship game of one of the Team USA teams
versus
either against the other Team USA team,
or
which defeats the entire purpose of USA versus the world.
Yeah.
The idea is that USA should play USA, one team gets eliminated, and then the winner plays the world. Having Team USA versus Team USA, which is a possibility, I guess, makes no sense. And here's the problem, and here's the rub to it. Adam Silver, and more importantly than Adam Silver, the American-born NBA players know a fact that none of us want to really admit publicly. If it was just one team representing USA and one team representing the world, we probably lose. And it pains me to say that as the nation's foremost basketball aficionado, but we probably lose. Could we win? Yes, we could win. It'd be a very competitive game. But when you start considering the makeup of Team World versus just a single Team USA, and I know we have great players still playing, the majority of our team is still going to be what we call in the streets OGs. They're going to be old heads. It's going to be Kevin Durant. And LeBron's going to force his way onto the team despite not belonging on the team.
Fans would vote him on the team. The fans would vote.
Hold on. This shouldn't be a fan vote.
No, there's still going to be a fan vote. It's the All-Star game. It's about the fans.
Time
you
out.
can't make it not about the fans.
It's about our country's dominance over the world in our sport. I don't want to vote on this. The fans shouldn't vote on this. This should not be a popularity contest. LeBron James should not be on Team USA this year.
If the fans want him, he should be.
No, if you want to go have a little get-together somewhere else and have a popularity contest and sign some autographs, I'm all about it. This is about asserting our dominance as a basketball country. And all the American-born players know a nasty, disgusting, ugly truth. We probably lose the game. Because when you start talking about a team with SGA and Giannis and Jokic
and Luka. It's one ball.
I know we've got great players too, and we do, and I'm Mr. America when it comes to basketball. The reason they've set this up with not 1 but 2 Team USAs is because we're afraid that we're going to lose. We don't want the European/Canadian smoke. We don't want it. Victor Wembanyama, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, right?
Yeah.
And all the other guys I mentioned, right? Giannis and SGA, the current MVP of our sport, and on and on and on. We want no part of that. And that's sad to me because it's like an admission that world basketball has passed American basketball. And I'm not ready for that to be the case. And the reality is that because people like Tyrone, I'm glad you said it, are going to view this as a popularity contest.
Like an all-star game.
Here's what's going to happen. We're not going to put our best possible team together. We're going to put politically certain guys that have to be a part of USA basketball. So, yeah, LeBron's going to be on the team. No doubt about it.
Because the fans will vote him on. He's
I don't
very
give a rat's ass what the fans want.
Well, I do.
If we are building the best current Team USA basketball team, meaning American-born basketball players, to beat Team World, and we better win this thing because this is going to become the new Olympic Games in a manner, right? Because you know you got only the best that are vying for the championship. Well, I'm concerned. I'm worried about it. And I don't want this to be a popularity contest. I don't want this to be a fan vote. I want basketball aficionados to pick the best possible basketball team. I don't want politics involved. I don't want Cooper Flagg on Team USA, but you know he's going to be there.
No, he won't be there.
100% will be
Cade
there.
Cunningham's going to be there out of Detroit. He's an excellent player.
Sometimes be careful what you ask for, because sometimes you get it. I've been begging for this, and now I got it. With the one caveat of, we learned a valuable lesson last night. Team USA is scared of Team World, and they should be. Uh-oh. 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 Uh-oh.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This just goes to show that, you get a very compelling, competitive series between two teams. And listen, I understand very much international with, the team playing in Canada and Toronto and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and everybody else. But dare I say, I think these ratings would have been super high anyway. It was just great baseball. Next day, people talking about the games and the biggest win for Major League Baseball in some time.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I'm not throwing it back. You come and get it. Like, no way. Even I'm not a fan of the team. I'm not, Vladimir Guerrero, home run, hit ball, these things are authenticated. They have holograms on them. You can prove it. Right? So, there'll be some Blue Jay fan give you a couple of $100K for that. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. World Series ball, home run, you're getting a couple of $100K at least. I'm not throwing that back. No way in hell.
In-game live. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circa Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Don't forget, you can subscribe right now to the Craig Carton Show podcast. There's a lot of podcast exclusives, like long-form interviews that we've more coming your way. And the entire show, if you miss any segment of it, it's all up there. Just download and subscribe. We've tripled the listenership, I'm told, in the last week or so. So appreciate that. And looking forward to growing that more and more and more. Of course, we love you watching live, but if you can't get the entire show, again, download and subscribe to the Craig Carton Show podcast with Tyrone Johnson every single day as well. And by the way, good news, we've outlawed the penny in this country. That happened last night or this morning. We're not minting any more pennies. It apparently costs the U.S. government 87 cents to make a 1 cent penny. So we decided we're done with that. So hang on to your pennies. One day they might be worth, a penny. But no more pennies.
Well, there you go. No more pennies.
I'm actually pretty happy about that. I hate pennies. I love Lincoln, but I hate pennies.
Well, there you go. I love Lincoln. By rule.
So it's funny. So Brian Dable gets fired. That's not funny. By the New York Giants, and a buddy of mine who I guess lives near wherever Brian Dable lives in New Jersey. I'm not going to say where.
Yeah.
Happened to be in a local liquor store. So literally about an hour after Brian Dable got fired, there's the picture right there. Now, there's 2 things about that picture that are very sad to me.
Yeah.
One, they must have escorted him out of the building immediately after firing him.
Yeah.
Why do I say that? Because he's still wearing his Giants shirt. And I can tell you, there's no way he wanted to wear his Giants shirt, but he must not have had any other shirts, right?
Right.
Number 2, I figured Brian Dable to be like, I don't know, a Modelo guy, a beer guy.
I can see that.
He's buying Twisted Teas, man.
I'm hoping it's for his wife. I really hope it's for him. He can't be drinking Twisted Teas.
When you get fired from a high-profile job like that, number 1, I appreciate the fact they didn't have someone working for him go to the liquor store and buy him his booze to cry his tears into.
I agree.
And I appreciate the fact that head held high.
Yeah.
I got fired. No big deal. I'm going to drink about it. Right?
Right.
But at least go buy some whiskey or something. No?
I agree. He's in the wrong section of the liquor store.
Like,
Although,
even if you don't drink whiskey, you can't have people seeing you buy Twisted Tea an hour after you got fired as the head coach of the Giants.
Now, maybe he was about to turn around. Maybe he was just glancing. That'll be for the missus or for a party or something that was already planned.
Yeah.
Because it looks like the other side of the aisle, I see a little Patron action.
Yeah,
I see a
tequila
little Don
behind
Julio.
him, right?
So maybe that's where he was going to go.
Maybe. But, the Giants did something last night also that proves to me, like I said yesterday, that they fired the wrong guy. And by the way, I can't defend keeping Brian Daboll around, so I went along with the firing. You lose the locker room. You have all these fourth quarter collapses. You're being out coached in theory.
Yeah.
Brian Daboll should have been fired, so I'm not suggesting they did the wrong thing with that. I still can't wrap my head around not firing Joe Shane.
Yeah.
Like, the general manager this part of the year has nothing to do. Trade deadline is over. You haven't started with the bowl games. He's not but per se, he's not the guy going to college campuses and taking notes on players. You've got a whole staff to do that.
He does.
So I don't know what Joe Shane is doing. Maybe mock drafting with his buddies. I really don't know. But here's something he did that, to me, furthers my point yesterday that you fired the wrong guy. And if you're going to fire Daboll, I'm fine with it. Well, you got to fire Joe Shane also.
Okay.
They have announced that Russell Wilson is done with the New York Giants, barring multiple injuries to the other two quarterbacks on the team. Jameis Winston, assuming Jackson Dart does not clear concussion protocol, is your starting quarterback this week for the New York Giants. If Jackson Dart clears concussion protocol, Jameis Winston, not Russell Wilson, is your backup quarterback. So effectively, Russell Wilson is done playing football this year, again, barring multiple injuries to both quarterbacks ahead of him.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring that up is because there's not a Giant fan alive that was supportive of the contract that they gave Russell Wilson after what he did in Pittsburgh last year. And while it got off to a good start when it comes to the record, he did not put up good stats. And it's very clear that Russell Wilson is no longer a good quarterback in the NFL. He had a great career. We could debate one day, is it a Hall of Fame career or not? I'd lean to yes. I have no problem if you lean to no. Not a hill I'm willing to die on. But the one thing we can all agree on, whether you like Russell Wilson or don't, Russell Wilson's done. He's done playing football, which is why Jameis Winston, who hasn't taken a snap this year, has now been elevated over him. Well, why would you maintain a relationship with the general manager that chose to give Russell Wilson the king's ransom that he got to be the starting quarterback of the New York Giants when no other team in football was making him an offer anywhere close or at all? And to me, I'm like, wait a minute. Joe Shane's the guy that did that. Joe Shane's the guy that said, I don't want to draft Jackson Dart, and did it, and was very clear in that video that he's putting that responsibility on Brian Daboll, and Daboll got that one right. He gets credit for that. But the guy that thought that Jackson Dart shouldn't be drafted is the same guy that thought Russell Wilson was going to lead the New York Giants with one wide receiver in Malik Neighbors and really nobody else had to say, is the same guy that let Saquon Barkley go to Philly and got nothing in return. Mm-hmm. Why is that guy still employed? And I speak for Giants fans on this one. Joe Shane has to go. You can't sell me as a diehard New York Giants fan that Joe Shane has done something that warrants him keeping his job. And then the second problem with that is, if he does come back, and I guess there's some question now that they're going to revisit it after the regular season.
Yeah, I don't think he's
in
back.
January.
Yeah, because of the situation, as you've mentioned many times, with the Mara family.
Yes.
They're taking their time there. He's basically the steward of the organization.
And he's got nothing to do now anyway.
Right, for now, until they can
So they're going to
reassess.
revisit it after the last game, the first week in January. But here's the other problem with it. One thing we would all agree on, depending on, regardless of what your feelings are on this, the one thing we all agree on is very simple. If Joe Shane comes back, it's on a 1-year deal, right?
Yeah.
They're not extending him.
No.
He's a lame duck general manager. Well, you can't have a lame duck general manager making the decisions that affect your distant future if he's not going to be a part of that future. So by default, you have a choice now. You either extend him, which would drive Giants fans bonkers, and I'm here for that. I'm here for that smoke. I don't mind that. Or you fire him. But you can't have Joe Schoen come back with a year left on his contract, because then he's making decisions for his own survival. He's not necessarily making the best decisions for a franchise. So I'll go on the record now, and I don't know how you could vote against me on this. Joe Schoen's got to go. Now, he doesn't have to go today. I'm with you on that. Yeah. There's nothing left for a general manager to do in November and December. His work doesn't start until after the regular season, when he starts getting his scouts all together and they start putting their board of draft picks and potential trade targets, right? Or free agent signings. But he's got to go. You got to go.
Of course.
Like, there's no argument for Joe Schoen to be employed after the last game of the season.
Absolutely
right?
not. Absolutely not. And the new GM, whoever it is, they only have 2 picks in the first 3 rounds because of the trade to get Dart.
Right.
So this new GM's going to have to come in and fire on these picks because they do not have many.
No.
And Joe Schoen put them in that position.
Yep. And that brings me to my second point. I only have 60 seconds. That's all I need to make this point. I know a lot of you have suddenly come around to my way of thinking that Lane Kiffin's a rock star, and everybody now all of a sudden wants Lane Kiffin. I've been, for the last 7 years, the biggest supporter of Lane Kiffin. I run his fan club, essentially.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin should not take the Giants job, and the New York Giants should not sign Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is not meant for the NFL. Lane Kiffin is perfect right where he's at Ole Miss, and with NIL money now and the transfer portal, he can get any quarterback he wants every single year. He can compete for a title every single year, and that is the perfect spot. He should stay in Ole Miss forever. But the obvious answer is still the obvious answer. And I know he's damaged his reputation because of his girlfriend and because of what's happened in North Carolina. But the only guy that the New York Giants should interview and hire is Bill Belichick. I do not buy that football has passed him by. He is still the greatest NFL coach of all time, and he's the only answer for the New York Giants. We have now learned the factual premise that the Lakers can win without LeBron James. So if you're the guy that was staging your own personal holdout, which I believe he was, and it backfires because the Lakers are 7-2, now you've got no choice but to really double down on the sciatica.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
If Jacoby Brissett was playing bad football for the past 3 weeks, Kyler Murray will be fully healthy, ready to go. Can't wait to get him on the field at Seattle and try to resurrect our season. Now you have Jacoby Brissett playing really good football. Putting Kyler Murray back in right now because he wasn't playing good football doesn't make any sense. The perfect storm here for Arizona. Hey, Kyler, going on IR takes the pressure off you. And Jacoby, you deserve the start. Go ahead and start, kid.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Good to have you here, Tyrone Johnson, as well. We got the Power 5 rankings coming up. We do it every Wednesday. And there's a big change in the Power 5. A couple news and notes first, though. Mike Vrabel, this is according to Polymarket Football, they put this out. Mike Vrabel is expected, I'm quoting what I'm reading.
Okay.
I didn't write this. This is a direct quote from an article.
Okay.
Mike Vrabel is expected to feed running back Travion Henderson a big load on Thursday night.
No, that's
what a big load looks like on a Thursday night.
That's not a sports term. That's
No?
a football guy.
That's a football term.
No.
Yeah.
Heavy load would be a football term.
Heavy load doesn't look like that. That's a big load.
Yeah,
we can't legally show you a heavy load.
Right.
We can only show
Well,
you
I'm
a
saying
big
he's not
load.
using the football term, which
Yeah.
makes me wonder what's on his mind.
Well,
You're a sportsman. You're a head coach, and you're using non-sports terms.
and people keep telling me he's a player's coach.
Well, apparently he is.
Emmanuel Clase, one of the two Major League Baseball pitchers that's been ensnarled in another gambling scandal, alleged behavior here on certain pitches, did respond. He's out, I guess, in his home country. I don't know where the hell that is, to be honest. It's like Venezuela or the Dominican or something. I don't know. In any event, he's not under arrest there. I don't know what the extradition deal is between countries, but he did have
From the
an
Dominican
answer.
Republic.
DR, there you go. I knew it was close. So Emmanuel Clase did say through his agent that the phone messages that the FBI has intercepted that they're using to accuse him of fixing pitches was actually him talking about cockfighting, which I guess is legal in the DR. I'm not sure. Fact check me on that. But
if it's not legal, it's still done a lot.
Yeah, and look, it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Like I've been to cockfights.
Pause.
Yeah.
Pause. You've been to when the Roosters were fighting those fights.
I've been invited to a couple cockfights in my day.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't forget, I'm a compulsive gambler. I have wagered on cockfights. I have.
Okay.
In the Bronx. They have underground cockfighting all the time. I even think it's an OnlyFans specialty, but I'm not familiar with that as much as Ethan is downstairs.
Right. We don't have
but in
that.
any event, that's what his defense. His defense is, I was not fixing pitches in a baseball game. I was talking to my friends about cockfighting and cockfighting results. Which, by the way, if not the truth, that is a brilliant defense. That is a brilliant answer to what might have been going on, because he does come from a culture where cockfighting is considered normal.
Yep, completely.
And how do you prove he wasn't talking about cockfighting?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's a smart defense.
That's one of the greatest defenses I've ever heard.
No, wasn't talking about that.
I wasn't talking about pitches, man. I was talking about big loads on Travion Henderson's head.
Oh my God. He was talking about you switched back to the other story.
Sorry.
You got confused.
I conflated stories.
Yeah, you got confused. All right, excuse him.
My bad about
confused.
that. People at ESPN are gloating right now that their game day ratings without YouTube went up by over 1 million viewers.
Well, you extort us into download an app. Of course it is. You can keep track of all the apps you extort us to order the app.
And I tell my boys this all the time, and any friend of mine that's single, and it's one of my life mantras.
Okay.
And that is the direct quote that Vijay is undefeated.
Super undefeated.
It's undefeated.
Never going to lose.
All right. It's never lost a fight, never lost a skirmish, never lost a battle. And I tell my sons this all the time. Don't get caught up in it. We've all been there.
Yeah.
But it's undefeated. It's never lost, right?
It beat Father Time just yesterday.
There you
Father
go.
Time was previously undefeated.
Bang.
Yeah.
So just to prove that point, I was reading a story today about Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, of course, quite famous. He's engaged to Taylor Swift.
Yep.
All right. Travis Kelce once dropped $600,000
$600,000
on a 10-seat private jet that he got on by himself to fly to Singapore when they were merely dating.
Oh, yeah, he was doing that little tour.
Tell me that it's not undefeated.
It's so undefeated.
He has dropped $1.2 million on private jets just to be with her wherever she was in the world on her famous tour.
Yeah, she went on that world tour.
And since they started dating, from day one of dating to their engagement, okay, he dropped $8 million on travel and other gifts for birthdays and holidays and whatnot, just to be in her presence.
Well, now I'm concerned.
That's a dude who is whipped.
So I got to ask you this.
Not that we wouldn't do it if we had the funds, but And by the way, he is financially marrying up.
Well, this is what I was about to ask you. Now that he has expended this, and now that he bought a nice ring, if she goes, all right, honey, there's only one thing, the prenup.
Oh, there's going to be a prenup 100%.
Do you sign it?
He has no choice. He has no choice.
But how much? Okay, fine. So let me ask you, Craig
and I'll walk you through it.
How much does he walk away with if you're
nothing?
Nothing. So how do I recoup that $8 million?
Because he's a multi-millionaire already. I guarantee the prenup is we both leave with what we came into the relationship with. And if you spent $8 million wooing her so that she would fall in love with you, that's just the expense of doing business. So you don't get that money back.
You got to get that $8 million back. I got receipts.
She never said to him, hey, drop $600K on a private jet by yourself to come to Singapore?
She said, if you come out to Singapore, I'll let you do something weird. Just get there.
Yeah.
Well, that's what she said, so it's the same thing. He had to get there.
You don't get that money back.
Weird. You got to get recouped. All I'm asking is, I have the receipts, honey. Can we put it in the prenup? I get the $8 million. You're worth $1 billion. You can't give a brother $8 million?
No.
You love me, quote unquote. I got to get that $8 million on the way out.
I am a fan of prenups. I think prenups should be part of every relationship.
Okay.
And I think they should all more or less say the same thing. You're leaving what you came with.
Plus my $8 million.
If you're a woman who didn't work and your job was raising kids, and
totally different,
then I think there's a value to that.
Yeah, totally different.
And I think you should be paid,
of course,
X amount of dollars.
Not
so you can live your life
at
a reasonable level that you've grown accustomed to.
Yeah,
I want to be very clear about that. Working moms, I respect you too. But there's no better job on this planet than stay-at-home mom and queen of the household. And I'll give you half what I got because of the great job you did. But if you come into it with a multimillionaire's bank account, you're leaving with the multimillionaire's bank account. I ain't giving you nothing. I didn't tell you to fall in love with it.
she
I
did.
was doing my thing before you came around.
Cursed him into doing it, and now he lose he's down $8 million, Craig. $8 million.
And final story, and I'm getting tired of this story, but I do celebrate it. McDonald's has brought the McRib back.
There you go.
But they bring it back every year, so it's like the Shamrock Shake. I love it, but you know. We have now learned the factual premise that the Lakers can win without LeBron James. So if you're the guy that was staging your own personal holdout, which I believe he was, and it backfires because the Lakers are 7-2, now you've got no choice but to really double down on the sciatica.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
If Jacoby Brissett was playing bad football for the past 3 weeks, Kyler Murray will be fully healthy, ready to go. Can't wait to get him on the field at Seattle and try to resurrect our season. Now you have Jacoby Brissett playing really good football. Putting Kyler Murray back in right now because he wasn't playing good football doesn't make any sense. The perfect storm here for Arizona. Hey, Kyler, going on IR takes the pressure off you. And Jacoby, you deserve the start. Go ahead and start, kid.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
I right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. One segment left, and it is time. I know you guys all wait for it. The Power Five. Power Five. All right. The fifth best team in the NFL right now. They've dropped down my power rankings, Tyrone. The Indianapolis Colts needed overtime against Atlanta, albeit out in Denver. Obviously, they give away 2 first-round draft picks to go out there and get Sauce Gardner. And what happened at the goal line? Got worked by Drake London. Worked. I know he only gave up 2 catches on the day, but got worked with the game on the line by Drake London. Look, Indy runs the ball great. Danny Jones having a great year. I do think they're very well coached. There's a little chink in the armor, though, with them. They got the win. They're looking at the number 1 seed still. That's totally in their purview. But they've dropped down a little bit. Still a top 5 team and a team that's going to make some noise in the postseason. Number 4, we say this every year with this team. I don't want to play them in the postseason. They have a Hall of Fame coach, I think. Hall of Fame quarterback for sure. They run the ball well. And, of course, they throw it wherever they want. The LA Rams.
Okay.
At number 4. And the Rams, by the way, do not be surprised if our final power ranking, Power 5, has the Rams near number 1. They're good enough to get to number 1, and they are a terrible team to have to play against, whether you're at home or on the road. That is a badass team.
And that quarterback, Stafford, he's playing arguably his best football of his whole career.
He's playing great.
He's playing at least as good as he did since Detroit. That's how great
And he's got a Super Bowl win already, and he is as good as any quarterback in football. All right, so Indy 5, Rams 4. Your Philadelphia Eagles have dropped down from their perch at 1 and 2 to number 3, and here's why. You know, they've still not figured out their offense just yet. Lane Johnson, I'm not sure when he's going to be back from the injury.
Apparently, he's okay.
Okay, so he'll be back at some point.
Yes, soon.
But we all saw the same thing at Lambeau Field. That was off a bye week. So they have a broken offense, and for me, until they replace Patullo and get somebody else calling offense, and maybe it's going to be Sirianni, I don't know, I can't buy the Eagles yet as my guaranteed number 1 across-the-board team, where I've had them a lot this year, until I see that offense multiple weeks in a row dominate. Because I know they're good enough to do it, and you got to start getting A.J. Brown the ball. The Eagles are number 3, and to be fair, they are the number 1 rated NFC team in my Power 5, okay? Meaning you got 2 AFC teams coming up.
Oh, boy.
The second best team, better than the Eagles, better than the Rams, better than the Colts, is a team that's now won 3 consecutive games, and they're only a game out of first place and only a game away from being 500. I told you a month ago, so I had this before anybody else. When they were 1 and 5, I told you this. The Baltimore Ravens have started their trek to number 1. The Ravens are the second best team in football. Their defense is starting to play better. Lamar Jackson is healthy. They're finding Zay Flowers. They're giving the ball to Derrick Henry, still not enough. And by the way, inside the 5, stop with the cute crap and just give the damn ball to Derrick Henry and let him do his thing. But the Baltimore Ravens are not going to lose again. They are the second best team in the NFL.
How?
I just told you how.
They are not. They're still under 500. They don't need their division.
1 and 5, Tyrone, and they're about to be 5 and 5 with an easy dub this weekend.
Maybe so, but I just want to say for the record that this seems premature in a week-to-week situation to have a team under 500 second overall.
That's why I'm a genius when it comes to sports talk, because I see things before anyone else sees them. Look, when they're 8 and 5, you know what's going to happen. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry's going to be like, oh, the Ravens, don't sleep on the Ravens. And I'll be like, where were you in October when I told you not to sleep on the Ravens? The Ravens are going to the Super Bowl this year. That's how good the Ravens are. And number 1, and it pains me to my core as a diehard Jet fan, the best team in the NFL today, not tomorrow, not yesterday, but today, those New England Patriots. They are better than everybody. They're playing lights out defense. I know people want to take a shot at their schedule. They don't pick their schedule, and they do what great teams do. When they're the obvious favorite, when they are clearly better than the opponent, they break them off. And what I saw them do on the road in Tampa, which Probably their second best win this year. The Buffalo win's obviously the best one because it's in the division.
Yeah.
I said to myself, if you have slept on the New England Patriots, sleep no more. Because the New England Patriots have just announced to everybody, at some point, you're going to have to beat them, most likely in their building, if you think you're winning a championship. So there you go. Pats, Baltimore, Eagles, Rams, and the Indianapolis Colts rounding out our Power 5. Check it out. Debate it amongst yourselves. Get the podcast. See the thing on YouTube as well. And we'll do this again tomorrow morning. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy Tyrone online as well. This is the Craig Carton Show. Peace.